If you've been to a college class recently, you've probably noticed that basically half the class is either on Reels, TikTok, or most notably, Clash Royale. At least in my classrooms, the Clash Royale epidemic has spread wildly fast. And maybe this happens in high school too, or other schools, but I won't know much about those. There's a lot of questions that surround this issue of phone and digital media usage in class, but I think the first question to ask is this even an issue at all? And that's aside from the obvious fact that cell phone use for entertainment in class is, disrespectful to the professor or teacher. But what I really want to know is, does cell phone use actually hinder your classroom performance, and does it harm the students' well-being? Well, a study done in 2022 asked that exact question. So what they did is they had some students put their phone at the front of the class before entering, and others kept their phone with them. The students who used their phone had worse retention of the course material, obviously. But what's interesting is the effect that this had on their well-being. You may think that cell phone use has no effect on well-being in the classroom, but it actually had a negative effect. Increased cell phone use in class actually makes students more anxious. So if you're stressed about a class, using your phone during it might actually make that worse. Also, using phones in class led to decreased mindfulness. Decreased mindfulness is antithetical to the whole idea of this podcast, so that's already a bad sign. And what did they mean by mindfulness? Well, decreased mindfulness meant that the students didn't recognize their own habits or behaviors throughout the class. They would doom scroll their way through class and not even realize it. Again, that's antithetical to the idea of this podcast. So yes, cell phone usage in classrooms definitely hinders performance. But how can we improve that? It's one thing to play Clash Royale 2v2s with your friends when you finish your work for the class, but it's another to play Clash and not pay attention to the lecture and completely miss some core content. So how can we eliminate the latter? I'll admit, sometimes lectures are hard to focus on, and a cell phone is a really convenient piece of entertainment that you can access in less than a second. So I totally understand the difficulty and the struggle with resisting cell phone use. But that's why we should go step by step to get there. And I think the first step in decreasing in-class Clash Royale addiction is to first be mindful about why it happens. A study from 2019 shed some insight into this. It said the key predictors of in-class smartphone use are daily usage habits and class characteristics. So in other words, the biggest predictors of cell phone usage in class are cell phone usage everywhere, not just in class. But what about class characteristics? What does that mean? So what they found actually surprised me a little bit, and it's that perceived difficulty of the class by the students actually had no significant effect on cell phone use in class. So it wasn't because the lecture was hard that they were using their phones, which honestly surprised me. They also found that the organization of the class, whether it be a lecture, discussion, or something else, had no significant effect on cell phone usage. What did have a significant effect was the class size and, as mentioned earlier, daily habits of the individual. The bigger the class size, the more time students spent on their phones. The more frequently students use their phone in general, the more frequently they use it in class. So in order to be mindful about your phone usage in class, you have to be mindful about your phone usage in general, not only in your 9 a.m. lecture. I was surprised to hear that the difficulty of the lecture has no effect on phone usage, because I've heard many people say things along the lines of, "This is free, I'm getting on Clash," when talking about the current lecture. The study did not show such a correlation, so I won't say this is a real trend. It's just my personal experience that I thought I'd share. If you feel the same, I encourage you to let me know with a comment. So, what we can take from this study is that your regular phone usage is a pretty strong predictor of your phone usage in class. And if your regular phone usage is the biggest predictor of phone usage in class, then it seems the way to reduce phone usage in class is to reduce phone usage altogether. Okay, so step 2 in decreasing phone usage is to actually decrease it all day long. How do we do that? Start by thinking about your daily habits. Do you watch Reels while you brush teeth? Do you watch YouTube while you eat? Do you play Clash Royale while you're studying? Do you doom scroll when you're just bored and have nothing to do? Now, I'm not saying these are necessarily harmful behaviors, but think about when you pull your phone out most frequently, or for the longest periods of time. The easiest way to notice this is to put your phone away and go about your life. See what you notice. Take note. If you realize you keep getting urges to pull out your phone and use it during times when you maybe shouldn't, try to fill that time with other things instead. Maybe think about the last workout you had, or the last meal you cooked, or your brilliant plan for the rest of the day, or something that you can reflect on or plan for instead of pulling out your phone. Maybe read books instead of watching YouTube while you eat. Little things like these can add up. If you really want to use these times, though, to check your phone, by all means, you have every right to do so. But just know that it will likely affect your ability to stay off your phone in class. And if your goal is to eliminate that, then just know it starts outside the class. You probably won't change this overnight, and you probably won't magically be fully focused in your next class after a whole semester of Clash Royale during class. I get it. But the work must start somewhere if you want to make progress. And that somewhere is outside of class. You have to be mindful of your relationship with your phone in your life in general. The effort must be made day to day, multiple times a day. And once you've reached a level where you can do nothing without using your phone, you will be able to pay attention in class with ease because you've conquered boredom and temptation. This is by no means a surefire strategy that will work 100% of the time, but it has worked for me, and the research suggests that it will help. It doesn't hurt to try, since using your phone in class has been proven to be harmful to your learning and even your well-being. Your Clash Royale trophies can wait until after class is over. As always, stay mindful, and I'll see you all in the next episode.